Now, I'd like to introduce our first plenary speaker. Her name is Valencia Peterson, and she's also known as Coach V. So, I'm going to invite you, I'm going to do a short introduction of her, but I'm going to invite you to please look at her bio in our program booklet so you can learn a little bit more about her. For the last 5 years, Coach V has been training and working alongside colleges and high schools in the greater Philadelphia area to promote sexual and dating violence prevention with young men. Coach V understands the power of sports, the influences coaches have on our youth. Her passion is to stop violence before it starts, and she recognizes that it starts with our youth. We're super pleased to have this woman here. She came all the way from Pennsylvania to be here with us today. She'll talk about commitment with Dorian out there, right? Talk about commitment to get here. So thank you. So please join me in giving a warm welcome to Coach V.
No. Hello, hello. It's on. You can hear me, right? Yeah. Good morning, everybody. I'm put out a disclaimer right now. My coach might come out in me. I'm not trying to, but sometimes it just arises. So I'm really glad to be here with you guys today. I'm thinking about how my grandmother, my great-grandmother, when I was really young, used to take me to church. I had no idea what was going on in church, like absolutely no idea. But there was something that people would say on the pulpit that would go over my head, but this morning, it hit me in a whole different way. And it was that the guy on the pulpit would say, giving honor to those to whom honor is due, right? And I'm looking at you guys, and I'm thinking to myself, you are the people that I want to give honor to. Because the truth is, without you, there'd be no me. I'm looking at you and thinking any one of you could be standing up here doing this and doing it well. So I'm honored to be able to speak before you about the things that I've been allowed to do. So I appreciate you guys. Never in a million years would I have thought that I'd be here talking to you like this, but I'm glad to be able to, and I'm really hoping that what I've been able to do in sports with my players, that hopefully you'll be inspired to believe that you can do the same thing. Because of your work and the foundation a lot of you guys are laying, I feel that way. I feel that I can press on and do all the things that I need to do. So with that being said, I never thought that I would be a football coach. Never in a million years. I know nothing about X's and O's. Nothing, nothing. I make no qualms about it. I know nothing about them. But I know that as I was working in intervention, I always felt behind the 8 ball. I always was wondering, I feel like I'm too late. I'm too late. So I dropped trying to do intervention and went toward prevention. And I realized I came across a program, shout out to Futures Without Violence. I came across coaching boys into men. I picked that curriculum up and I thought, let me try to use this. But I ran into a roadblock there. Because getting in schools and talking to administration and even convincing coaches who feel like they don't have enough time for you to take part in coaching boys and the men was a bit difficult. So I was just about to give up, when one day I was walking around a field and I saw a team practicing. I debated for a bit. Should I go over there? Should I not? I went over and I said to the coach, listen, you want to do this violence prevention program? And he was thrilled, just over the mountain about it. And I thought, oh my gosh, this is gonna work. And he went on to become my champion coach. He went on to become one of the best coaches I've ever worked with, and I'm still working with. I realized quickly with sports that my young men, the only family structure, the only good community they had was in the huddle. That's the only time they felt like they were with family. It was shaping them as men. It was showing them how to live and be a part of a family. And I realized the power, so much power in that. Because I look at sports as a beautiful platform for prevention, beautiful platform. Because it has all the ingredients, a good community. It has all the ingredients of working together, having each other's back, protecting each other. But the one thing that was missing was prevention. That was the one thing was mentioned. And I figured if I could get that community of sports and infuse prevention in there, this would be a powerful movement. So I went about trying to build a program using the platform of sports to start doing that. And I will never forget it when Huffington Post wrote an article on the work that I was doing. And I have to say, to my shame, I thought it was a local paper. I didn't know what it was. You know, I was like, oh yeah, okay, right? When they did an article on the work I was doing, Temple University said, we'd like to hear more about what you do. So I said, okay, I'll come down there and talk to you. And I thought, let me bring one of my players, right? Let me bring a player. So when it was time to talk, I went further and I said, you know what, you go up there and talk. A little bit unorthodox, but I did it anyway. I was like, why don't you go up there and tell them what we're doing? Because if you can't tell them and you're my player, I'm doing nothing. Okay, it's zilch. So he gets up there in his way and he says, I'm really proud, like working with Miss V because now I'm learning how to treat women, and I'm really proud because now I'm teaching my dad. Now, underneath the table, like I wasn't ready for that. I did not know that he was home teaching his dad. He went on to say, my dad hasn't been treating my mother very right. He's not been right toward her. And now that I know, I can teach my dad. I was like a mess because it wasn't rehearsed. He just went up there and was him. And he came back and sat down. I was looking at him, I was like, oh my goodness. Had I never brought him, I would have never known that. So that speaks to the impact that we have that we don't know we're having, right? That speaks to the little things that you might be doing that you don't even know you're doing. And now I want to give a shout out to the grassroots organizations in here. The ones that have to be the executive director, the CEO, the program director, and the therapist for your program. I know about those. With little support, right? Little backing, but you're doing great things. I would have to say that's us. When I started with my players, now you're keeping in mind this community of football players. It got to be that a new coach came on. I was working with my champion coach, and a new coach came on. And he just didn't have the values I was looking for, right? So I thought, either I stay with this program or I go with my new coach, but I decided to stay with the program. I had some work to do because I had already built the structure of community with my guys, but the coach wasn't buying in. He had his own issues. So now I got to deal with the coach in order not to destroy the culture that we were building, such as prevention, how to treat a woman, how to talk to a woman, how to keep your hands to yourself, right? This is one of those challenges when it comes to working with these kinds of things. But what I found is, as time went on, the coaches began to transform. It began to hit them, how they needed to be. And when I did a coach's training, a coach said out loud, like he didn't even realize he said it. He said, I'm an abuser. But instead of him having an epiphany, he disappeared. Never saw him again. Never saw him again. And here I saw the problem. Okay, I can get to the kids, but I got to get to the coaches too, right? I got to get to the coaches too. And so now I'm in a position with sports, again, as a beautiful platform for prevention. My young men, they are blowing me away, okay? Just like the young man that came and said, I'm teaching my dad now, these young men have come back to me. I started with young men when they were 14 and 16 years old. They're seniors in college, and they're on my board now. One of them is 23, and one of them is 21. I have a hard time when it comes to what we're doing, loving and leaving them. in a sense of we start this great work with our kids, right? You try to infuse prevention in them, but sometimes when the money runs out, the program runs out, right? I can't live like that with a program. So I decided to go to quality over quantity. And that's why the 14-year-old young man that I met is now on my board at 21. Staying with them, walking with them. With social media, you don't have to lose contact with anybody. They can always hit you up and talk to you about something. So using sports as a beautiful platform for prevention. Right now, this is amazing to me. Right now, I have about 100 Del Valle players who've taken the pledge not to hurt a woman. I have about 5 high schools I'm working with in Pennsylvania that have taken pledges not to hurt a woman. And on the first day of school, September the 9th, a bunch of football players are going to walk in their high school with shirts on that say, integrity, I took the pledge, ask me how. Now, nobody's going to see this coming. This is the first time anything like this has been done. Nobody's going to see this coming. They're going to walk in there with 50 shirts on with the same shirt, same color, and the same message. I took the pledge, ask me how. Their teachers, their administrators, their peers, more importantly, will say to those young men, what pledge did you take? And they're all going to say, I pledge not to hurt a woman. First time ever. And this is going to be happening on this coming Monday. These young men I've worked with, I've walked with, and how do I do it? I find good coaches. I have to find good coaches. Once you find good coaches that buy into this vision, right, you can do some great things. You can do some great things. Sports is everything. It has every component we need. Every component we need to be able to infuse prevention of sexual assault. The other thing I want to say, though, as a woman of color, is that a lot of my young men have the issue of just looking like they did it, okay, and being accused of doing it. So with our program and using sports as that platform for prevention, it's also in a way to keep them safe so that they don't get themselves in compromising situations. If you know any football talk, I talk about the RPOs of a relationship, right? When do you run for your life? Because, hey, this is not a good situation. Girl's been drinking, right? Maybe another time. When do you pass? Same type of scenario. You have options. And I want my young men to know that they have options. So while I'm talking to them about what not to do, I have to tell them what to do, right? Don't hurt a woman. Don't put your hands on a woman. Absolutely not. Where am I at? Okay. Don't put your hand on a don't put your hand on a woman. But then what, Coach V? You know how many times I heard my young men say, that's abuse? That's wrong? There's the obvious things, the physical, the sexual, they're the obvious. But I will tell you one thing. While there's never, never, never an excuse, there's always a reason why people do what they do. There's always a reason. And until we know another person's story, we don't get the whole picture. And I'll tell you this, and I'm going to leave on this and hope you'll come see me in my workshop. My father killed my mom when I was very young. And I just don't think that my father woke up that morning and decided he was going to kill my mother. I think there were signs leading up to it. I think there was things that were happening that nobody stepped in and said, hey, chill. This is something you might not want to do. And so for me, having the platform of sports, having a buy-in from young men who crave community, crave a family atmosphere, right? Prevention infused in there is everything. It's everything. I really believe that sports done right can change the face of sexual assault. I believe that with all of me, I wouldn't be standing here. I believe, and I've seen it. I've seen the effects of it. I've seen my young men change. I've seen them intervene. I seen them stand together as one, like they're going to do when they go in their high school. Not ashamed to say, I won't touch a woman. I've seen it, I believe it, and I've bought into it. So this is the thing I want to leave you with. Like I said, I don't think my dad woke up that morning and said, I'm going to do this. I don't think that. I just think we need to get to them now as they're being exposed to all kinds of things, that we help them decipher what's the good, what's the bad, and what's the ugly. So, thank you guys.